Have you ever had a secret so heavy it felt like it was physically crushing your ribs? Mine started with the scent of unfamiliar cologne in the passenger seat of my own car. It was a Tuesday under the flat, gray sky of a Chicago afternoon, and the air in our garage on North Clark Street felt thick, suffocating. My wife Sarah said she'd just been out for groceries. The bags at her feet were from a boutique I'd never seen before, and her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. It was the first crack in the perfect life I thought we'd built. That night I watched the blue light of her phone screen paint shadows on the ceiling, long after she thought I was asleep, and I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that I was standing at the edge of a cliff I never saw coming. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The strange behavior had been a slow burn. Late-night work calls that she took in the guest room, her voice a hushed whisper. Receipts for dinners for two at Gibson S Bar and Steakhouse when I was out of town on business. She'd become a stranger in our home, a ghost gliding through rooms we once filled with laughter. When I'd ask, her answers were always a little too quick, a little too polished. It was a client dinner, honey. You know how it is. The manipulation was an art form. She'd twist my concern into paranoia, my questions into accusations, making me feel like the one who was losing his mind. Her and Mark, my best friend, the man who was my best man at our wedding, they grew bolder. Their inside jokes in front of me, laced with a smugness that made my skin crawl. They felt untouchable, wrapped in a bubble of their own deceit, while I was the fool on the outside looking in. The breaking point came on a rainy Thursday. I'd come home early wanting to surprise her. The bedroom door was slightly ajar. Heard her laugh, a sound that once warmed me, now sharp and foreign, and then I heard his voice. Mark's. They weren't just talking. The sounds that followed shattered the world around me. I backed away, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. I drove to a desolate parking garage overlooking the river, the city lights blurring through my tears. The humiliation was a physical weight, pressing down, stealing the air from my lungs. I was broken. But as I sat there, the rain lashing against the windshield, something inside me shifted. The grief curdled into a cold, hard resolve. They thought I was a fool. They were about to find out how wrong they were. The revenge began not with a bang, but with a click. A private investigator. It's the best in Chicago. He was a quiet, methodical man who delivered a steady stream of evidence. Photos of them checking into the Peninsula Hotel. Timestamp texts filled with their sordid plans, audio recordings of their calls. Every piece of proof was a stone I laid for the foundation of their ruin. I opened a new bank account, slowly siphoning our joint savings into it. I met with a shark of a divorce lawyer, a woman whose reputation was as sharp as her tailored suits. We planned everything. The social trap was set for our annual charity gala event. Sarah chaired, her crowning social achievement. It was the perfect stage. The night of the gala, the ballroom at the Drake Hotel was glittering. Sarah was radiant in a gown that cost more than my first car, basking in the spotlight. Mark was by her side, playing the part of the supportive friend. They were untouchable. During her speech, as she spoke of trust and integrity, I gave the signal. A massive screen behind her, meant for a slideshow of the charity's work, flickered to life. It started with a photo of them kissing on a hotel balcony, the Chicago skyline behind them. The room went silent. Then another photo, and another. Texts, dates, locations, all of it displayed for the city's elite to see. The audio from one of their calls filled the stunned silence. Sarah's voice complaining about how boring I'd become, Mark laughing. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic. She was publicly disgraced, stripped of her board positions, and ostracized from the world she loved. The divorce was swift and brutal. The prenuptial agreement I'd insisted on, and the mountain of evidence, left her with nothing. Mark's wife left him, his business partners pulled out, and he was ruined. They were destroyed, not by a storm, but by a quiet, calculated demolition. I sold the house on North Clark Street. Sometimes late at night I'll pull up the security footage from that final. Terrible night at the gala. Not to see their faces, but to watch my own. To see the man I was, and the stranger I had to become to survive. The screen reflects a face I barely recognize, a ghost in an empty room.